They're more innovative than all their competition. And yet, they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access, the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight? The Wright brothers beat them to it. There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operated it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products. And nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level? The neocortex is
Okay, hold on, guys. This is an 18-minute video, and we had thought about playing a 5-minute one, so I don't want to go on and on with that. We're not going to have time. Let's go ahead and turn that light back on. We'll talk about, this book is so amazing about why people do business with you and what your big why is. So I just wanted to get that into your frame of mind before we get started. Now, I want to go ahead and do a prayer and introduce you to the breakfast sponsor who brought us this delicious food, and then we'll dive right in. And what I'm going to ask you guys is to get a little somber with your personal self today. I'm sure you've been to business planning clinics. I'm sure you've done some of this before. And you're going to see that this is a little bit different because I don't want you to have a whole bunch of confusing numbers. I want you guys to be able to engage in some of the workbook activities, not get stressed out and, oh my gosh, I don't know every answer, but just open your mind to engage today and listen. And what our goal for you through some of this ninja stuff we're doing is a very nice, clear activities that you can start today to have the best year next year. And so I want you to just get out of limited thoughts, get out of what your head's going to tell you isn't possible, and let's go into a fun engagement with each other, okay? All right, so who has any prayer requests for me? Let's talk real quick. Ruth is not in the room now. I think she's making some extra copies. As I see you come in, and maybe if you don't have your numbers yet, I'm going to try to get them over to you during the meeting today. I know that Marsha Anderson had another scan, and so Ruth didn't give me, she was basically telling me and walked out. I know Hal Griffin started in on another round of hardcore chemo, so if you guys haven't checked on him lately, Pam, you have an update on him?
He's good.
He's doing well.
He did
I know
real well
he was
last week.
feeling really well last week, so.
And he had it Monday again, and he did real well last night, so.
So he'll do that, 3 on, 1 off, I think, and then we'll get some more updates for him. Ruth, did you have an update on Marsha Anderson?
Earl said he talked to her and the CAT scan was fine. They still don't know what it
The
is.
CAT scans are doing okay.
Yeah.
That's great news, right?
Yes,
And then,
absolutely.
Mark, your wife doing better, healing,
He's healing.
still in our prayers. Robert McGowan's wife, still in our prayers. So I'm probably not naming them all, guys. You know some of them.
Peter. Yeah.
What's the
Yeah, he replaced it.
Surgery.
knee surgery? Okay, so I didn't even realize that was going on. John, you got a spot up here, I think. Did you guys say this? I can see something like that. Okay, anybody else have a prayer request that I didn't think of?
I have one.
Claire, do you have a sister or someone in your family in hospice?
Yeah, my sister's mother-in-law.
Sister's mother-in-law's in hospice. That's such a hard time for a family. I know Tiffany Hewitt has a good friend who is at the very end of hospice. Barbara?
I have an aunt that has been diagnosed with liver cancer. We thought it was all good, but she went back for a scan and her bone.
Bone
She's
cancer,
the
Barbara's
amazing
aunt's
me, and
family.
it's just really
It's heartbreaking and hard, and let's pray for,
Charlie.
right? Anyone else? And Brian, I'm going to ask you to lead. I don't know if I mentioned it to you. Do you mind lifting up those veterans too? Because I want to tell you guys, my mom's birthday was Veterans Day, so I have a special place in my heart on Veterans Day for both my grandfathers that served and all of the men who served, and not just me, men. So if you'll lead us, please.
Absolutely. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you in a grateful spirit. Thank you for all of the blessings that you've given to each and every one of us just today. We know that you are the great healer. We know you know the thoughts of all the men and women in this room and all of their relatives. Our people that we know that are afflicted, we know that that is not of you. We would ask that those be cast out and claim perfect health for all of them. And if it is their time, then they are being called home and they get a second birthday to be sitting beside you. want to lift up especially all the veterans, past and present, who've worn the uniform, went forward, and held freedom first in what they did and made great sacrifices from all of them. And that we ask that you bless this crowd, and that each and every one of us is a blessing as we go out. We carry your light forward, holding ever most high that by Jesus' stripes we're forgiven and we're healed. And that we are the blessing to everybody. What we learned in this room today, that we carry that forward. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I can't tell. I'm trying to get a cold today, so in case I get a case of the coughs, bear with me. Okay, Pam, come rescue me.
That's very hard to follow. I'm still in the, feel like I'm still in the prayer right now. So, as usual. Hi guys, my name is Pam Tipton. If I have not ever met you, I'm glad to meet you today. I'm with Edward Jones. After years of being with Keller Williams, I moved to Edward Jones to try to help people like you guys do your business plan, get ready for next year. What I do and what is available through Edward Jones should be a very big part of you building your business and preparing for your future. So we do everything at Jones that a bank does, other than we don't have a drive-through window. So we can get a checking account for you if you want to. We can help you buy stocks if you want to. We can do your entire retirement portfolio. So there's just a vast amount of opportunities there are for you guys. We also we can do life insurance for you, and life insurance is very interesting actually. It's not the way it was in the olden days where you get term or you get, hey, how are you? I didn't see you come in. I haven't seen you in a long time. Sorry, I haven't seen Isaac in a long time. So I was on insurance. So there's all sorts of products now that also can help you during retirement. For instance, you can purchase a life insurance policy, and during retirement, you can take the money out of that life insurance policy with no taxes. It's tax-free. That's one of the opportunities you have. So there's a lot. If you have any questions at all, please be sure to call me. In your business, a SEP retirement account is more than likely your best option. And in order to set that up, it's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of money, but it does really help you prepare for the future. There are a lot of questions right now about the market, and I don't know how many of you follow the market. But I want you to know to turn the television off, don't listen to it, it's all going to be okay. We truly believe it's going to be okay through the next half of 2019, just because of all of our economic indicators. We don't look at politics 100%. We do take it into consideration. If you own individual stocks that these trades or tariffs are going to affect, you might want to look at it. But if not, don't worry about that right now. Our economy is great, and I think you guys know that. Just go to the Woodlands Mall and you can tell. I mean, that's what we look at. That's what our analysts look at. They look at earnings growth and that sort of thing, and all of that's just wonderful. Now, is it going to change? Possibly. Are interest rates going to keep going up? Right now they are, but if the earnings growth keeps going like it's going, there's no need for the feds to raise the interest rates anymore. So there's a possibility that that's going to stop sooner than a lot of people think it is. So if you have any questions like that, please feel free to call me anytime. You will do a business with a lot of people here, and they can tell you that my office drives them crazy because we call a lot. Sorry about that, but it's important that you stay on top of what you have. And if you have an old 401k or something like that, you really need to look at it right now. I highly recommend you do a review on it, because market is going to change and it will affect the value of your account. So, and if you need help with that, of course, I'll be more than happy to help you. So that's it. Thank you guys.
Awesome, thank you. guys, my meeting here, I'm gonna go till 11. I'm gonna do it my best to get you done by 11, because that's always my goal, is to respect your time. Anybody that has to leave, go get on the phone. Of course, I understand that. Don't worry about it. When I go through a couple of the pages of the workbook, I'm gonna go through a few of these exercises a bit quickly, just because we're not gonna have time. We're gonna listen to a ninja video. At first, I'm gonna start and stop it a few times more than you'll want me to, and then as we get into it, it won't be so bad, okay? So, Donna Rodriguez is in the room, and she is gonna help us through a couple of the financial workbooks. And also, I'd like to make sure you know she's doing a Pampered Chef gathering, right, Donna? Is that?
Yes, I'm having a Pampered Chef party. If you know Melinda sells Pampered Chef, and so I'm serving lunch, and it'll start at 11:30 to 12:30. So, and Melinda's going to lay out some Pampered Chef products for you to take a look at, and you can order. It'll be here by December 1st.
Okay, so after the meeting, they're gonna have some snacks, I think, right?
We'll have lunch and I'm gonna set up the products.
Lunch and Pepper Chip party after this, right?
2 hours.
All right, I'm gonna get going,
Time for everybody.
right? Ruth, you say something?
Does everybody have a handout? Have y'all gotten one? Did we miss anybody?
I'm not gonna turn the lights off, guys, because we're gonna be taking notes, so if anybody has a problem with visibility, let me know.
Also, has anyone not got the signage sheet?
Yes, up in
So we're going to take them one at a time
Sorry.
in your business plan. And so we recommend that you
Too loud?
have that with you, download it if you haven't done so already. So yeah, today we're going to focus on your business plan. We believe that if you want to have your best year yet, your year starts in November. That's when you should have your business plan put together. You should start to execute that plan, get a running start. If you want to have a really strong first quarter, you need to have your business plan in place in November and start to execute that plan. That's been our experience. So that's the goal of this webinar, is to help you do that and help you have your best year next year that you've had. So there's basically 5 steps, and we're going to go through those 5 steps in this webinar. The first one is to take a moment to glance back at your past year and learn from that experience. Then based upon that, you set goals for the new year, both financial goals and personal goals. Then we're going to help you develop a set of activities that will help drive those goals, help you achieve the goals. And then what you need to do is schedule a time to do those activities. So your calendar, your schedule for the year is very important. And then obviously you've got to put those actions, those activities into action and activate your business plan. So that's the 5 steps. So we're going to take them one at a time. And we'll start out with step number 1, which is to glance back at your year and learn from that experience. You know, what worked, what didn't work, where did your business come from, everything down to your average sales price, your average commission per transaction, where did you spend your money, where did you spend your time, that type of thing. Now, we provided you with a template for that, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But first, let me talk about how important it is to look back and to know where you are in your business. I was a captain in the Army, and when I went to officer basic training in Fort Gordon, Georgia, one of the exercises, they took us out and dumped us in the Georgia woods, and we had no idea where we were, and we had to find our way back. We were given a map and a compass, and so if you want to figure out where to go, the first thing you've got to do is figure out where you are. And so that was the first goal, was to try to identify, find some feature, a hill or a river or something, and try to locate where you are now. You really need to know that first before you can plot where you're going. So that's why we recommend that you really know your business, and you do that by looking back on your past year and learning from your experiences. Tammy Spalding, who's one of the top realtors in the country, and she's a partner of mine here in the group, she's helped us with that by providing us with a template. and it's in your handouts. And Tammy, every year in November, she has a retreat. She takes a day out and plans her next year, and starts by evaluating her past year. And so I'm going to click out of the PowerPoint here for just a minute and go into the handout that we sent you. I believe these are on pages 4, 5, and 6. So you start with your business analysis for the year, and just, what was your income? Break that out by quarter. You may notice that you do better in some quarters than others, or you may have a slump in a quarter. That's something that you can learn from. How many hours a week are you working? What's the nature of your business? What's the average sales price, etc. Very important, where did your business come from? And here we have where your listings came from. We also have where your buyers came from. Very, very important, knowing where your business comes from, where to put your time, where to put your dollars, and so on. And you can see a very simple template, very easy to do. Also track, your commission percentage. And that's important. If you want to increase your income per hour, one of the things that you need to look at is, can you increase your average sales price? And can you increase your commission, or at least maintain your commission rate? So some great questions. Take a few minutes, go through, evaluate your business, and know where you are in your business before you set the goals for where you're headed. A couple of other questions that I think are valuable to ask is, in looking back, if you could replay last year, what would you do over? What would you do different? We all make mistakes. We need to learn from those mistakes and try not to repeat them. So if there was something last year that didn't work very well for you and you could do it over, what would that be? So take a look at that as well. Learn from your experiences and be prepared to make that correction then for this next year. We had a sales meeting last week and talked about this. Are there people that you want to avoid this next year? Did you have that really difficult client this past year that really drains your energy and drains your time? There's an old saying that everything in our environment either gives us energy or takes energy away, including people. And if you have a very difficult client that just drains your energy and it's difficult, you may want to avoid that person or that type of client this next year. What I find is that there's two issues here to address with tough clients. One is your energy. What I find is that we tend to attract our energy. So if you're in a high positive energy state most of the time, you're not going to attract a lot of the negative people into your business or into your life. So number one, check your energy. Make sure you've got your energy right each day when you go to work and you start your day. The second thing that I find is the reason that a lot of realtors work with difficult clients, or clients that are really never going to do anything other than make your life difficult, is that they don't have enough business. And so that gets back to flow. And if you don't have enough business, then you tend to work with anybody and everybody, including people who are probably never going to buy or sell, but they drain your time. So you want to be aware of that. And I think if you follow the business plan that we're going to outline for you, two things will happen. Number one, you'll have an abundance of business, and therefore you'll work with the people who are ready to go. They're going to buy, they're going to sell, they're good clients, and you won't have time to work with the people who are difficult. Step number two then is to set your goals for the next year.
Okay, so let's take a pause, guys. You got page 4 through 6. I've given you your numbers here. A lot of you had the homework to do before you arrived. And so, without getting bogged down and coming out of any kind of nervousness, who wants abundance? Who wants to not work with crazy? Do you ever notice crazy people hang out with other crazy people? You sell one house and then pretty soon their friend wants to buy one and you're just stuck in that. I can remember in my business the first time I was able to say, yeah, no, mm-mm. So, as you go down this business analysis, let's kind of do it together as a group of people. You can do internally, you can speak up. If you're new to the business and you don't have the numbers, from last year, or maybe your numbers are so low that you just kind of don't know what to do here. My goal, and I'll tell you guys this whenever we start your businesses, if you ever talk to me, is for you to do 16 your first year. I think it's an achievable goal. I think it gets you into cap so you get to understand that 100%, because if you're just working to the next cap, that's not the same feeling as going above to that 100%. I found for me, I don't know about you, if you're like me, it drove me a little bit to sell more during that 100% time than when I knew I was gonna be, back in as soon as I reset. So let's go through together, just kind of take a couple of minutes here to say, what was my gross income for the past 12 months? So if you were a agent who didn't have a goal yet, if we did 16 houses times a 6,000 average commission, don't you guys think that's pretty conservative? Then I'd make 96,000 in gross commission. So I hear a lot of times people want to make 100,000. Okay, so your numbers can change. So as a group, my gross income for the past 12 months was, write your number or an estimate of a number or however you want to do it. My quarterly income was this year, last year. You can do 2018, you can do 2017 if you prefer. You've got the last 12 months in front of you. I found, guys, for me, my first quarter made or broke my year. My second and third quarter were pretty much always consistently good. It's summertime. And then my fourth quarter, I usually would kind of kick it into gear, so fourth quarter started to be good just because I was actually doing some activities then. But if you will think back to your numbers, you've got a chart there in front of you. How much did I do in my first quarter? How much did I do in my second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter? You guys have that? I worked an average of how many hours per week? I'm guilty of the too many hours per week syndrome. I earned an average of, who's got their calculator on their phone to say what they earned per hour? Does anybody want to say what they make per hour? Anybody feel confident and comfortable saying it? You guys are like, I don't want to tell you. How about my total expenses last year? Who knows them? If you do know them, do you know them, you know? Let that resonate for a second. What were your expenses? Okay, what are we going to do for average closed sales price? What do you guys think? I figured this one at 200,000 because that's the way I do it as team leader. That's the way I did it when I was an agent. I found it was conservative, and if I figured it with that, I pretty much always hit it. You guys know what your average MLS price is? 240. So could you put 240, 250, whatever you guys want for your personal? If you have your own numbers, you know the answer. Does anybody say anything besides that? You guys agree? Yes? Average closed listing price was. It's the difference in sales price and listing price, right? One's a buyer, one's a seller. So if you were making this for the first time and you've never sold a house in your life, put your income goal at 16. If you want to do 4 per quarter, that's fine with me. Let's work an average of how many hours a week do you guys want to work? Somebody tell me.
40.
40? Anybody believe 40? Raise your hand if it's 40. Nobody believes 40?
60.
60? Who works 60 in the room?
The question was one word, right?
Well, how many do we work now? Who works 60 hours a week? Raise your hand. Who works 50? Who works 40? Who works less than 40? Who works above 60? Okay, you guys don't know how many hours a week you work. So let's start to think about it as you look at your calendars. Okay, so I took, where am I at? I took blank listings last year and went on blank listing appointments. So when you look at how many you sold, how many you guys believe of 16 you would have taken as listings? Half and half? You guys gotta engage with me, I can't read your minds. 50% are listings, what? 30% are listings? 60%, somebody says? Donna, Story, what do you guys think?
It's 60.
50-50? Mine tended to be around 50-50. I think 50-50 is a nice goal. You guys have buyers, agents, and rooms, I get that. Okay, so if I went on, let's just say for the sake of you guys not answering, and I'm gonna have to do everything here, that I went on I took 8 listings last year. Or I guess I sold 8 listings. How many listing appointments would I have had to take, right? You guys should be tracking this, and if you guys don't know, your systems in KW will track it for you. And that'll be inside your Kelly. I had blank listings expire last year. Blank listings go off the market. Anybody have an issue with expireds last year? We had a pretty hot market, right? Anybody have a higher end that expired? Nobody really did, okay. What do we have in place for if that starts to happen, as we know we're moving into a shift? I presently have blank active listings. A total dollar volume of sales last year. So you guys know, sometimes will know your volume. How do we figure my volume here? 16 times 200? Is that right? Somebody do 16 times 200 for me. Jeez, crazy up here. Wow. My toes are cold. So $3 million in sales, and then I've hit that right there, that math, right? So presently I have how many active listings? My total volume last year was, I averaged blank live interviews per week. That's going from your ninja material. So if I talked about a live interview, this means I came into contact with a live human interaction. We're going to call it that. So I averaged how many people in contact per week. You guys just guess to see what you think it is. You know, in bold you do 100 a week, and we know that that's like really a stretch. I used to say, man, if I did 5 a day, that's 25 a week. So how many are you? You can count open houses, you can count current clients. You guys just start right down what you think the truth is. My listings came from client, referral from client. So my listing came from a client. My listing came from a referral of the client that I had. From a lender that referred me. From a friend who wasn't listing their own, but they just told me about it. A staff like my own team, I guess, or somebody that I know like that. Another realtor referral. You guys should be getting realtor referrals through your network, right? Business or vendor contact. Internet leads. Sign calls, so they call you about that listing and then they end up listing theirs or other. Somebody in the room tell me where their source of clients come from. I know I have some seasoned agents in here that know the answer. Pretty good. Past clients, current client referrals, friends. How about internet? How much your percentage of business are you guys doing from internet? Does anybody have a number? Paul, you have a lot from the internet?
Yeah.
How much do you think a percentage of?
50%.
50% from the internet for you, so he's got to be doing a bigger volume of stuff back there, right? Okay, so write down what you guys, either you know it, or if you haven't ever done it before, go ahead and just watch it, fill it in, think about it. My sales, so this is the exact same exercise, only with he's just dividing up listings and buyers. You guys know your answers of your sources. You know, when I was an agent, we always tracked every source. Sometimes it's hard to track them because they just say, I don't know, I saw your name. Okay? Total number of under contracts were. This is, did you have any deals fall through? So if you sold 16, did you put 18 under contract? Or whatever. My average commission per listing closed was it higher than this? Was it lower than this? My average commission per buyer, so your listings and buyers. My average commission per closing, so it's really just knowing your numbers. New construction homes I sold. Referral income from realtors. I'm talking about somebody sent you a referral from that you paid them probably 25%. Number of days on market for the MLS listings. So how long did your listing sit on the market? You guys know that? It was pretty quick this year, I think, most of them. You know, as we watch those stats every team meeting. What are you guys' average days on market right now in your market? Anybody have a number? 90 says Huntsville. What do you guys say? 90, 60, 60 to 90? 50? So can I say 45 to 90 days? And everybody will kind of believe that?
Yep.
Obviously, if it's lower price, it might not be one day. It's an average we're talking about. Depends on where your sweet spot of your sales are. My highest price listing closed was My lowest price listing closed was, my highest price buyers closed. My commissions earned, did I make 3% or 2%, or did I do one for a family member? This is just keeping track of your average commission price. Because when you're making a business plan and you know your numbers, you just know, did I make an average of 3%? Did I sometimes do one, then get another? How many 3-day weekends did I have off last year? How many weeks are there in the year of 50? So raise your hand if you took 10 or more 3-day weekends off. All right, okay, good. You mean, don't we want to raise our hand a little bit? 5 or more?
Wednesday, Friday.
Hey, Barbara, I knew you were on my list there. So this is something that you want for yourself, right? That's the point. For me, like I said, I have that syndrome of working too much. How many weekends did I work? How many days off did I take? What were my total business expenses? And this is, I don't know, any different than the last expense question. Gross expense minus gross income equals expense income ratio. I guess this is talking about
One
the,
of them was this year and one was last year. Right? Last year. Isn't that what it says?
what do you think, Ruth? It's just basically.
No, this is still talking about last year's numbers. You're still looking, I mean, you're doing the same comparison, but this is just kind of giving you, you know, what is your net income? What net income ratio do you want to be? So are your expenses 80% of your income? Well, that's not very good, right? So that's just kind of what it's looking at in the total.
Yeah, and you guys, like I said, don't get bogged down. Is it 12 months? Is it whatever? You can go through here and think this through as you, are you aware of if you know your numbers or not, first of all? And do you know your income as a percentage, your expenses as a percentage of your income? I have found from interviewing agents all the time that the biggest percentage of agents I know do not know what percentage their expenses are. Now I was just gonna say the teams or somebody that's doing quite a bit of volume, and I think because of them they have a lot of expenses, and we have accountants and all that, you can just grab it. But do you know, and if you do know, do you have a goal for it? Does anyone in the room run around 30%? I gotta know which ones you are. And I know that when I asked the ALC this year, they were saying, man, we're running up to 40%, sometimes 50%, so you have to know that. What worked best last year? So I want you guys to take 30 seconds right now and tell me what worked for you individually last year. If you don't know the answer, what do you think's gonna work? So if you fit in long enough to have it last year, then what can I improve? What can I improve for this next year? Okay, can I move on?
Wait, can I say something real quick?
Yep.
All right, so guys, from a CPA perspective, this is the perfect time for you guys to be formulating and getting all these numbers together, because this really is the best time to start planning for your next year. Kind of, it's too late to tax plan for 2018 because you're almost clear with it, but it's not too late to start tax planning for 2019 and set your goals. So like right now in my office, I'm meeting with all my clients and trying to get them like, let's go through this, we missed our targets last year, what can we do? So this is the perfect time. These numbers are really, really, really important. I know we're kind of rushing through them, but I am willing to sit with you guys and help you work through this. I could do a workshop for all of you to kind of actually work through this and get these numbers firmed up. But however you want to do it, if you feel more comfortable meeting with me one-on-one, let's do it. But this is right now the prime time to do it. I can't stress how much it is, okay? So anyway, that's my little
Okay, moving on.
investment.
Next year. And we would recommend that you set goals, not only financial goals, but personal goals as well. And your personal goals start with your life list or your reasons for living. So we've talked about this in Ninja quite a bit. In your handout, there is a place for you to do your life list. It's on page 7. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Then you want to set your financial goals. You know, your life list has to be funded. So you have all these goals in your life that you want to achieve, but you've got to find a way to fund those. So we've provided you with a very nice template for that. And then also your net worth goals. And so we're going to go into each one of these 3 and how to do it, how important it is in your goal setting. We'll start with the life list, or the why. You know, Simon Sinek in his famous book, Start With Why, draws these three circles. And so what we do is we sell real estate. How we do it is the ninja way, the ninja selling system. But the real question for you is, why are you doing it? Why are you in real estate? Is it because you love real estate, every aspect of it, or is it because it's a great way to fund your lifestyle, take care of your family? Is it a great way to network and meet people and build relationships? What is your why? Okay, and that ties into your life list. You know, John Goddard, when he was 15, he wrote the original life list, which we teach in our classes. And it was the inspiration for the movie, The Bucket List, with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson. You may have seen that movie. And we have found that a life list is very, very important. It's what gets you up in the morning. It's your reasons for living. And so we've provided you with a worksheet that you can use to build that life list. And we've put categories together. So one of the categories is your family. You know, what are your goals for your family? Secondly, what are your occupational or career goals? And this would tie into your financial goals as well. Then what are your recreation and dreams? What brings you joy? What would you like to do for fun? And what are your hopes and dreams? Do you have a dream to live someplace or in a particular type of home? Do you have a dream to own investment property or to be financially secure? And then finally, to be and to give. Okay, you obviously want to be a ninja, you want to be a great parent, for example. And then what is the impact that you want to leave on the planet? What is it that you want to give? What is your legacy? So those are some categories for you to begin to build that life list. And we provided you again with a sheet on page 7 that will help you do that. Your why is your rocket fuel. It's what gets you up in the morning, and it's also what helps you stay on track when you get depressed. You know, when you have a deal crash or you've had a tough day, you need to know why you're doing this. It's what keeps you going. And a great example from my experience, leading a real estate company for over 40 years, we had a woman, her name's Mary, and she's since retired and moved on, but she was just a great partner of ours, a great realtor. Not a particularly high producer, but did a great job with the business that she did. And one day she came in and she had the realization that she had 3 daughters. They were all close in age, and all 3 of those daughters were going to be in college at the same time. All 3 of them were very good students. They all 3 wanted to go to private schools, and which they did. They were all in private schools. The cost per daughter was $50,000 a year. So Mary was faced with a $150,000 college bill, and she said, I need to make $150,000 more than I've been making. I need to up my game by $150,000. I said, well, Mary, actually you need to up your game by $200,000 because you've got to make $200,000 to pay $50,000 in taxes to have the $150,000 for the girls. And you know what? Mary all at once elevated her game. She made $200,000 more than she had ever made. She became one of our top producers. And it was because her passion wasn't necessarily real estate. She was really good at real estate. She liked it. And she took good care of her clients. But her real passion was her kids. And that passion had to be funded. And what a great way, what a great industry, what a great profession to be in, that she could just up and decide, well, I'm just going to make another $200,000 this year. Most people in a job don't have that option. So a great example of how she took her passion and funded it. We have this template for you on your financial goal setting worksheet. It's in your handouts, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You go through and decide what you want, not what you think you can have. You design your life the way you would like it to be with this worksheet. That's what Mary did. She didn't limit herself to what she had been doing in the past. She simply said, here's what I want, not what I think I can have. I want to make an additional $200,000 a year, and here's why. and filled out the worksheet. This is pretty self-explanatory, except sometimes there's a question about the first line there. Mine to keep, deposited in my feel-good account. What is a feel-good account? A feel-good account is an amount of money that's not really set aside for anything other than to make you feel good. So it's not being saved for, the college tuition or for the kitchen remodel or for the trip. It is there simply as, call it a reserve account, call it a feel-good account. It's that account that when you have a rough day and you've had a transaction crash or something that's hurt your business, that you can come home and you have that account, we can still put food on the table, we can still pay our bills, we're going to be okay. It gives you the confidence to walk away from a very tough client or an overpriced listing. And it also helps you through the ups and downs, and especially the downs in this business where you maybe have lost a transaction or something. So that's very, very important to have. I remember Tammy Spalding, when she was a rookie, her second year in the business, she doubled her income. And I went into her and I said, tell me about that. How did you double your income in 1 year? And she said, by having $30,000 in the bank, it gave me the confidence I needed to walk away from a difficult client or an overpriced listing, or to not go into a purple funk if I lost a transaction. So that is very, very important. And so you'll fill this out, and then you'll come up with what we call your receiving goal. One of the goals we hope that you have is at some point to have what we call wake-up money. This is the money that you would have by simply waking up in the morning. By waking up, you have the income you need to decide what you want to do that day. And maybe you decide that I want to keep selling real estate, but at least you have that option. You're financially secure. And so to do that, what we know is that the key is not necessarily your income, it's rather your net worth. What I find is most realtors know their income. They set income goals. They're very good about that. And they know their income because they have to file a tax return. But what they're not so good at is their net worth. Many times I ask them what their net worth is, and they really don't know. They've never calculated it. They don't have to file a tax return on their net worth. But it's your net worth that is going to make you financially independent. So we think this is part of your business plan as well. Your net worth is very simple. It's simply what you own minus what you owe. And so we would recommend that you sit down, take a few minutes, calculate your net worth, then set a goal for the next year. If you could earn the income that you want to earn and do the things you want to do and have some money for investing and so on, what would your net worth be the next year? And so focusing on that, what we know is what we focus on expands, and if you focus on growing your net worth, you'll do it. If you want to be wealthy, you will. And we're designed to help you do that.
Okay, so Donna, I'm going to have you come up here. So you guys on page 7 there, my life list. We're going to do in past Thanksgiving, the next team meeting, we're going to do some life lists. I think Ruth's going to do it, or she and I will do it. We're going to go explore a little bit more of our life lists and our vision boards and our big why and that kind of stuff. But how neat to sort of sit here and go, man, I don't even know the answers. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Do you guys know your answers? I'm like, ow. And so, why not know them? The financial goals, deciding what you want. I'm going to let Donna just take over these next couple, especially the worksheet after this. Anybody have any ahas on these financial goals? Everybody out there have a pulse? Mine came out to be a lot more money than I thought. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I need to make more. And I have a question, Donna, if you want to go down this. I didn't know what to put on my taxes, so I'm going to let Donna take over the next couple.
Glad you did.
So the couple of things here. And guys, just open your mind to going ahead and working through it. We're almost through the pain part of the class. I know we don't like numbers. But just give it a shot. Just give it a shot
I
here.
love numbers.
Numbers
Yeah.
belong in the form of.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right?
But they multiply by 3%. Right. Okay, so I think financial goals and your net worth goal worksheet go hand in hand, okay? Because So oftentimes we think of it as this is what I want, just like he was saying, the lady that wanted to make $150,000 more. But we also have to see where we are today. In order to know that I need to make $150,000 more, we need to know what are my current bills, what's my current income, things like that. So all this stuff, like the net worth financial worksheet is very important. And again, if you fill this out, it's something very easy. You guys have all gotten loans. You've had to do this. You just maybe didn't know that you did this. But you know, they ask for this stuff all the time. But it's also very important in your goal setting plan. So when you look at what do you want to be able to keep, like when you go through and I always, and some of you guys that I do your taxes for you, you know, we talk about, okay, each commission. I look at it in the goal of each commission. Each commission, I need to take my taxes and set them aside. But each commission, you also need to set aside something for you. I tell my clients when they're first starting out in business for themselves, and so for those of you realtors that are out here, and all of you seasoned realtors as well, now they always say we need to get our break-even point. What is our break-even point? And that's kind of what Anna was doing up here. What do I need to sustain? What do I need to live? Well, one mistake that people often made, and these are business owners often made, was they didn't build themselves in to that break-even point. They didn't pay themselves. Well, none of us like to work for free, right? So you need to put that in your mind. So when you're thinking of, you know, when you're going through these numbers and saying, what do I need? Factor yourself in, and not just paying your car payment, paying your utilities, paying, what do I need to be able to go on the trip, take the 3-day weekend, or take that, you know, buy the beach house, or whatever. What is, that's part of your goals, and so that's part of making yourself feel, or maybe you want, you know, a new boat, or a new purse, or shoes, or something. Those are all the things that make us feel good and make us want to get up and continue working, because if you don't feel like you're worthy of a salary, then how is somebody else going to feel like you're worthy, right? Okay. So when you're looking through these, that's kind of what you're looking at. Your recreation, what do you want to do? Your personal growth, family growth. Okay, all these are really important. You know, in addition to that, we want to reduce our debt, right? Because as we go along and we're more successful, we want to be able to have more of that. What do you call it? Feel good money, right? The money where we wake up and we go, what do I want to do today? Or just that, you know, I think I am just going to go lay out on the beach today, you know. So that.
Well, I had somebody tell me recently that's a high achieving person that just can't sleep at night with not a certain amount of cash in the bank. And I thought, you know, I don't have that, but of course I've not really ever wanted to have it. So if you just got a little nest egg in there, that's gotta feel good.
Yeah. It's that, you know, and not just that emergency, but that, like Anna said, the little nest egg, that the more than the emergency, you know, if my car breaks down, you know, I'm still gonna be able to eat, but more than that, you know, not worried about the car breaking down, right? So these are all just very important, but basically, also we want to plan, those of you that are younger, plan for your retirement, because, I mean, like, people ask me, Pam, you know, at what age do you want to retire? Well, I don't know. I can't ever imagine myself not working, but it's nice to be able to not work as hard when we get older, right? And to enjoy. My brother laughed the other day. He goes, the golden years, I don't know that they're so golden. But, you know, we want to be able to enjoy life. So these are all things that when you're going through and doing your planning are very important. So that's why your net worth worksheet, and again, we'll go into this in more detail. Like I said, I can work with you one-on-one, or I can work with you, we can do a workshop, or you can do both. We can do a workshop and one-on-one too. But, you know, the biggest thing for us to remember is us, from our income, us, our expenses and taxes, okay? So many of you forget the tax part too. And it's very important for you to know where you are in your tax situation so that you're not caught off guard at the end of the year and having to write these checks and then not very happy because now we don't have our expendable money. So I think this is a very important task to go through, okay? So I don't know if you want me to go in more detail, Anna, or what you were kind of looking for.
Okay, so at the very bottom of the financial goals sheet, so I put some numbers in there and I just took a stab at some numbers and I thought, wow, you know, I thought about that one. And then at the very, you know, towards the bottom, taxes, let's say I did a total of all those lines up to there. And then how do I do taxes, 20%, or what do I do
Well,
there?
your taxes are going to be, the more you make an income, the more we pay in taxes. But this is also where the more you make an income, then that's where you start planning more, where you look at maybe you buy some investment properties, maybe we get some more into our retirement. So, I mean, that kind of fluctuates. There is a, and I should have brought that as a handout, and I will try to get it to all of you because I know there's a sign-in sheet, so I can email it to you, with the tax rates, okay? To kind of show you, if this is your income, then here's what an estimate for you to be using for your taxes, okay? As far as your tax payments that you would have to pay, okay? So when you set your goals, that is really correct. When you set your goals for your income, if you want to make 150,000, like the thing said, she had to actually make 200,000, right? Because she then had to factor in the tax part of that 150 net that she needed to make. So anyway, I'll send you those brackets. There are 6 brackets with the new tax law change. It's not so new anymore. It's been about a year now. But there's 6 brackets, and you can just see where you fall in there. Okay.
So guys, one vision I have for 2019 is to bring you a KW class called Agent Financials. I'd like to see some workshops where we actually go through some of these things, because my thing is I kind of want to sometime, I'm going to get to doing that, and I don't. You guys do it? I mean, you want to do it? How do you guys feel? Give me some feedback on that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to do it, right? Okay. Anything else, Donna, that you want to tell them?
Well, I'm glad that you guys want to do it, because what I was going to say is that you're not real good leaders of your clients if you don't know, because these are all the things that they're going to need to know too when they're buying a house, because this is all the information they have to have. So it always makes you look smarter and more valuable to them, because you know and you can actually hold their hands and help them. So I want to help you be able to help them better, okay?
Well, and why is it okay with us as a group of people, we're salespeople, to go around and not know how much money we have? Why is that okay with us? So, okay, we keep going.
Oh, no, why is it?
Why is it, Anna? All right. I'm just looking in the mirror, guys.
One of the books that we recommend is The Millionaire Next Door, and it's a classic book. In their research of wealthy people, what they found was for first-generation wealth, that is people that are not inheriting wealth, they're building it on their own, that the wealth creators tend to have about 80% of their assets in income-producing assets. So 80% of their net worth is in income-producing assets. So if you go back to your net worth, if you want to be a wealth creator, then that means that only 20% of your net worth can be in the form of equity in your home or in your cars or your furniture, that type of thing. You need to have 80% earning income, building wealth. And so that's a good rule of thumb. I know Pat and I have followed that our entire marriage. Next year we'll been married 50 years. And recently we purchased a second home. We wanted to be close to our son and his wife, and they just had a grandbaby. And I did a quick analysis. Can we do that and still have 80% of our assets in income-producing properties? And the answer was yes, so we went ahead. So it's a good barometer. It's a good way to measure that, and we highly recommend that you consider that. Here's a simple wealth creation model. So you've identified that you're going to get on the ninja path, and we're going to help you build your business plan to do that, and your income is going to go up. Now, if you work the ninja system, the system will work for you. And what you need to be careful of is as your income goes up, you want to keep your expenses consistent. You want to establish a baseline living expenses and keep those where you are. We'll talk about celebrations here a little bit. That means you can celebrate when you hit your income goals. But what happens so often is as realtors increase their income, their expense line starts to bend and track right along with income. And before they know it, many times they're living commission to commission. And this is not a healthy situation. What we want you to do is to keep your baseline consistent and invest the difference. The best form of investment, we believe, is buying real estate. But whether it's real estate or whether it's mutual funds or whatever it is for you, that's how you become financially secure. One of the problems with having your expense line track along with the income line is that we're in a cyclical business. And, if there's a market downturn, or if you get sick, or if there's a downturn in your business for some reason, and you're living too close to that income line, suddenly you're in trouble. And, then you're laying awake at night worrying about it. We want you to have financial peace of mind. We want you to be able to sleep at night. We want you to build a net worth. We want you to be financially independent and have wake-up money. That's the wealth creation model that we show here. What you need to do, obviously, as a ninja, is to access your social network. And in generating income, that's accessing your network is really the key. And unfortunately, most realtors do not access their network. Their typical mindset is not about relationships or their network. Their mindset is about transactions. And their transaction focus, their self-talk is like this. Well, John and Mary Smith bought their house. They're good to go for the next 7 to 9 years. Where's my next transaction? Where's my next deal? They start looking for the next transaction. What they need to do is they build a relationship with John and Mary. They need to maintain that relationship. And most realtors don't. They talk a lot about being a relationship oriented, building a relationship business, but they tend to be more transactional. And this shows up in this consumer housing trends report from Zillow. They surveyed 13,249 households, and they asked them a number of questions. One was, did your realtor contact you after closing? And 74% said they never heard from the realtor ever again. Never heard from them with a phone call, a face-to-face, or even a newsletter, or through the mail or the email. The realtor disappeared, became invisible. About 20% said they heard from their realtor on average about once a year. And only 6% said they heard from their realtor on a regular basis, which was defined as once a month or more. Well, ninjas are all about flow and all about staying in touch and all about building and maintaining relationships. And so that 6% is the ninja path, okay? And ninjas really have that relational orientation, but most of our industry does not. The keynote speaker at the Colorado Real Estate Convention this year was Lee Cockrell. He's Executive Vice President of Disney. He's now retired. He was in charge of Disney World. And he was on stage giving his address on leadership and customer service. And all at once he paused. He says, can I give you a commentary on your industry? He says, my wife and I have purchased and sold 11 homes in our lifetime. And we've never once had the realtor connect with me after closing. So 0 for 11 on follow-up after closing. With a guy like Lee Cockrell, right? He went on to say, he says,
It's true.
I'm interviewing 2 to 3 executives a week to come in and work for Disney. And they're all looking for housing. They're all buying houses over $1 million. Any one of those realtors who had ever taken the time to build a relationship with me, I could have referred them enough business that I could have made their career. Interesting. Obviously, those 11 realtors weren't ninjas, because what we teach is a referral mindset. And what we know from Harris Interactive, a study that they did on people in the United States, the average American knows, or maybe I should say the typical American knows an average of 4 people who will move this year. So our mindset is these clients know at least 4 people who will be moving this year. How do I access and earn their referrals? How do I access and earn John and Mary's referrals? How do I access and earn Lee Cockrell's referrals? That's the mindset of a ninja. We've provided you an example of how much business is around you. You're literally swimming in abundance. If you have that referral mindset, if you have that idea that let's access the network, let me show you an example of what we're talking about. This is in your handout. And as we move through here, we come to this Swimming in Abundance Income Calculator. Now, we've provided you with a blank one.
Page 10 and page 11.
And then to give you a feel for how to fill it out, we've provided you with one that's filled out. The one that's filled out is simply using an example of if you had a database of 200 households, okay? And in that database of 200, let's say that 50 of them are clients. Now, a client is defined as somebody that you have done a transaction with. So you've sold them a home, or you've sold a home for them, or you've sold an investment property, you've done business with them. So 50 clients, if we multiply that times 20%, that means 10 of those clients, well, not 10 of the clients, those 50 clients will do 10 transactions this year. It's a fact. We know how many households there are. We know how many transactions there are in the market. And so on average, if we use a 20% rule, those 50 clients will do 10 transactions this year. Let's say that you don't get all of them, but you get 8 out of the 10. So that would be 8 transactions from clients. Now, again, a ninja has a referral mindset. Those clients know 4 people who are going to move this year. What if you could just get 1 referral from each client? That would be 50 potential referrals. And again, let's say, you don't get them all or they forget to tell you, but what if you got half of them? Well, that would be worth 25 referrals, 25 transactions right there. Let's take a look at the other 150 people in your database. We call them friends. And again, those 150 people will do 30 transactions. Now, what it may mean is one person does 3 transactions. They might buy a house, sell a house, and buy an investment property. But the fact is those 150 households will do 30 transactions. Again, what if you get half of those? Well, that would be 15 transactions. Then keep in mind, those 150 friends, they know 4 people who are going to move this year. Well, what if you got 25% of those? That would be 37. If they only knew 1 and you got 25%, that would be 37 transactions. Then we have the active client referrals. So while you're working with someone, by the time you list their house, get their house under contract, get their house closed, they refer you business. Our mindset is that our next transaction is embedded in this transaction. We're going to do a great job for them. We're going to stay in touch with them. And that's our mindset. Well, that's another 30 transactions. If we add these all up, we're swimming in 115 potential transactions. It's actually higher than that, but I think we've been fairly conservative in our analysis. And if you earn $10,000 per transaction, you're surrounded by about $1 million, over $1 million worth of commissions. So, you don't really need to be chasing internet leads or chasing strangers. What you need to do is access your network. And if you don't have 200 people in your network, well, then one of the goals this next year that you should have in your business plan is, how do I get to 200? If you only have 50, well, how can I add 3 a week? 3 a week would add another 150. You'd be at this number by the end of the year. So your network is very, very important. And accessing that network is important. And the reason is because you are literally swimming in abundance, swimming in transactions. Our success formula at Ninja is very simple. You take your receiving goal or your income goal and you divide by 1,000. That tells you how big of a database that you need. So if you want to make $300,000 this year, how big should your database be? Well, take $300,000 divided by 1,000. I need a database of 300 households. Now, this database can vary based upon your market. And we find that this rule of thumb works in most places in the country, but in very high priced markets, each name in the database is worth more than 1,000. For example, in resort markets or in high-priced markets, you'll find the formula might be a little bit different. You maybe don't need quite as large of a database. But we find that in most parts of the country, that's a pretty good rule of thumb. Then what you want to do is build your database to the right size. So if you have 200 now and you need to be at 300, well, what's the goal? Well, it's to add 2 a week, right? Or add 100 as fast as you possibly can. Then you become the real true choice. And we're going to talk about that next. And you do that through something we call flow.
Okay, guys, so we're going to get into the how in just a second. What was your takeaway on how many people in your database, what those people are worth? We talk about it all the time, right? So in my example up here, if I wanted to sell 16 houses a year, how many people do I need to be in flow with in my database? Did you guys get that part? 160 people, right? So 3 per week added, am I getting there? 3 or 4 a week. If I have none, in 12 months from now, I could be making that kind of income. Now I want you guys to take page 12. I want you to find a partner in the room, the person next to you, or if you don't have somebody next to you, you pretend you have a friend, I guess. Page 12. These people probably want to buy, sell real estate, okay? I want you to look at your friend and talk to them because I know you guys are having a hard time engaging here. This one's really easy. This is about getting into your that part of your brain that looks for this for you. This is an exercise that you can do all the time. So turn to your friend and tell them, who do you know, a name of someone who's had an increase in their family size. You two can talk to each other. Who do you know who's had an increase in family size in the past year? Think of a name and say it to your friend. And if you just go, I don't know, look on Facebook next time you're on there. You'll see somebody. All right, keep on going down the list. And you guys write down the name on your sheet of who you're thinking of. Every single one of you, put it down on your sheet. Go down this list and name a name of someone you know who increased in size this year. You know someone, your brain will come up with it. If you don't know someone, put it on your list of things to find someone. Just go down the list.
Children age 10 and under.
Write them down, Brian. I want one name per line. It's not that hard, guys. It's not that much else to do.
The reason I'm wondering with my son is because he's banking.
Name one person. Yes, they need to be local. They don't have to be local. Prefer local. Terry, who are you sharing with? Talk to Paul. Paul, do this exercise.
Children below.
I want to see names written down, guys. And if you don't know someone, it's okay. Skip it. Name, write the name down. These are going to be the people you're going to contact. I'll get you a copy. I told you to open your mind. Oh, okay. Look at it. Next time you're on social media, you might notice. Write down names.
Getting married.
We are. We're not to that part of the podcast. Right now, I want you to get a name in your brain because you guys will find out if you try. Your brain will find it for you.
Have a dream of money
Go down the list, right now. And if it's too hard, go to the next question. I had 2 or 3 different ways. It's okay.
Okay, good.
I think it's getting depressed and getting
Basically, they were
were having an affair.
Yeah, the two that I know were. Oh, and married, I see what you're talking about.
That's what I'm really trying to say. It's a real estate change. I don't know. Leadership and I like it's not a change. 5 years. Everybody I know does real estate. If you don't know an answer, go ahead and skip that line. Put a blank, put a question. I'm not letting you finish until you're finished, so keep it going, guys. This is not social hour. So here's what you do. You sit in your mind right now and get somebody you know who's had a baby. Okay, someone you know who has a teenager. Let's see. Write down one. One will come into your mind. Here's the thing. If you don't know, say I don't know, but don't tell me you don't know anyone in this entire list. Just work with you guys. Just tell them at the beginning. Open your minds. Here's the deal, Linda. If you ask your brain to find it, your brain searches. I did not get rid of That's the reason she's going to do this. It means that you're just using your brain. So it's okay. Okay, so there's no wrong answer. All the work they have in my mind. Okay, so write on your sheet. Write on your sheet. Just work with me. Yeah. It knows it. You know anyone who's lived in their house for years? So write down neighborhood. I mean, if you guys honestly can't think of one person on this entire list, and I'm not judging you, I'm just saying this is how you do, this is how you increase your business. Is just opening your mind, guys. This is what's called your RAS. Your brain will look for the answer for you. And if you don't have an answer tonight when you're asleep or tomorrow when you're on Facebook, you're going to see somebody in a new way that goes, oh my gosh, they've lived in their house 7 years. Oh yeah, that one just had a teenager, you know, somebody moved from 13 to 14. Your brain works this way, guys, right? It looks for information that you're asking for it to. So if you don't know anybody who owns a building lot, does anybody not know somebody who owns a building lot? I couldn't think of one. And now somebody somewhere at the grocery store is going to be talking into my brain over to the side about a lot. Because that's what your brain does. It looks. And it searches. This is the point of the exercise. It's not just philosophical, it works. It's proven. All right. Work on it later if you're struggling.
In my red wig.
We're going to get into some activities.
And then you develop your skills and systems to handle a business, and we're going to help you with that here at the end. One of the things that you want to do at this point is identify the people in your database who are most likely to want to buy or sell this next year. We believe that in your database, about 20% of them should be on your warm list. And we've provided you a template for that. We provide systems pretty much for everything in Ninja. And so it's this one that says these people probably want to buy or sell this year. And so what you do is you simply bring, you pull out your database, you bring one at a time them into your consciousness, you focus on them, and you go down and you ask these 16 questions. You know, have they had an increase in family size this year? Well, if they have, you put a 1 beside their name. Do they have children, 10 and under? If they do, put a 2 beside their name. They're going to possibly be interested in buying an investment property as a way to pay for college for those kids. Do they have teenage children? You know, they don't have any more children, but the children are bigger and they are louder and they bring their big loud friends over, and all at once the floor plan isn't working as well. You go down this list and you put, if they're having that, if they're experiencing that kind of change in their life, you put that number beside their name. At the end, you'll have your database with numbers beside it, and the names that have the most numbers have the most changes. They have the highest, what we call move score. And so the people with the highest move score are the ones who should be on your database, or I'm sorry, on your warm list. You should have about 20% of your database on your warm list. So if you have 300 in your 300 households in your database, you should have about 60 households on your warm list. We'll talk about the warm list here in a little bit and what you do with that. Now, it's important when we talk about database to distinguish between a database and a CRM. A CRM is a customer relationship management system. A database might simply be name, address, phone number, email. In essence, the old-fashioned mailing list. That's a database. A CRM is much more than that. And we're going to talk a little bit about how important it is not to just have a database, but to have a CRM. You know, it's interesting. Most realtors don't have either one. A study by Efficiency by Design, they studied 20,000 realtors throughout the United States and found that 60% of them had absolutely nothing. They didn't even have a box with business cards or scraps of paper. Of the 40% who had anything at all, they made 251% more. So this is very, very important. Now, a couple things on your CRM. We believe the difference between a database and a CRM, one of them is the CRM is mobile friendly. Most of us work with our phones. You want to have something that's mobile friendly. What I find many times is that, especially new people, when they get into the business, I say, do you have a database? And if they do, they often say yes, and they're using Excel. They have an Excel spreadsheet. Well, that's an example of a great database. But the problem with Excel is it's not mobile friendly. Have you ever tried to look at an Excel spreadsheet on a mobile phone? It just doesn't work. And so I say, well, what we're going to do is export your Excel spreadsheet into a CRM. And a CRM has three things. Number one, it's mobile friendly. Number two, it has a calendar. Excel spreadsheet doesn't have a calendar. You need a calendar because your calendar is going to drive a lot of your activities with your network. And so you've got to have that. And then also you've got to have something that's simple and easy to use. If your database or your CRM is too complicated, you'll tend not to use it. So there's a lot of various CRMs out there that are excellent. And if you're very techie, you may want to go with, for example, Top Producers, a database. That requires, it's more complicated. It requires a little bit more knowledge to use it. If you're looking for something very simple and easy to use, you're not particularly techie, then I would recommend something simple like Outlook. Outlook is mobile friendly, it's got a calendar, and it's simple and easy to use. Then you want to qualify your database. So as you're loading names in, or if this is a time of year you go into your database and you identify your A's. These are your advocates. These are your card-carrying fans. They will proactively look for business for you. Then you have your B's. They are fans of you. They don't proactively go looking for referrals for you, but they will refer somebody if they're asked. Your C's, they know you, they like you, they trust you, they will do business with you. They just don't think much in terms of referrals. They're probably not going to be a big referral source. But you want them in your database, and you want to put them in flow because when they get ready to buy or sell, you want to be their realtor of choice. And then you have your D's. Your D's are the people that you don't know, but you would like to know. And you'd like to develop a relationship with them. You have targets. I know one of the targets I have is the presidents of the various building companies. I want to get to know them and develop a relationship with them because we can do some business together. Or perhaps it's the CEO of a company that you would like to get to know that CEO and develop a relationship with that person in that company and perhaps do their relocation business. And then you want to have your hot list. These are the people that want to buy or sell in the next 3 months. They're ready to go. And then your warm list are people that want to buy or sell, and they want to buy or sell sometime in the next year. We'll talk more about hot lists and warm lists here in just a bit. As you set those goals and as you start to achieve those goals, you want to take some time to celebrate. Reward yourself in small ways. Maybe it's a dinner out, or maybe it's a 3-day holiday at a nice resort. Something to celebrate as you go along, because it needs to be worth it. It needs to be fun. And you need to have those little celebrations as you go. Okay, step 3 then is activities. Now, here's where I notice a lot of realtors kind of miss it. They're really good at setting goals, but what they don't realize is those goals are going to happen through their activities. And you really need to identify the activities that are going to generate the goals. And so that's step number 3. And part of this, as a ninja, is unlocking that social network, having that referral mindset, having that relationship mindset. And the challenge we have is this. Every person in the United States knows at least 12 real estate agents. So we're not the only game in town. We're not the center of the universe. Even if we sell them the house, they still know 11 other realtors. How do we become the realtor of choice? Well, what we know is that happens through flow. And flow fixes everything. If you want to build a business, amp up your flow. If you're in a slump, amp up your flow. Flow fixes everything. And what is flow? Most of you know flow because you're ninjas. We do have a number of folks on this webinar that are new, but to ninja. So flow is frequency of interaction, face-to-face, on the phone, through the text, through the email, snail mail, Facebook, social media. All forms of interaction are considered flow. And we recommend that you build 2 flow systems, one of which is auto flow. Auto flow is something that's mailed or emailed automatically. There's a couple of systems that we teach in Ninja. One of them is what we call the 8 and 8 system. It's where you send your network 8 touches in 8 weeks. It can be a combination of mail and email. Actually, you send them something every week for 6 weeks. On the 7th week, you make a phone call, and on the 8th week, you arrange for a face-to-face, a coffee, a lunch, a breakfast. And this is a great way for you to, if you're new to the real estate industry and you come out of another career, for you to rebrand yourself as a real estate professional. They think that they know you, they like you, they trust you, but they think of you in your old career. And you've got to rebrand yourself into your new career. The 8x8 system is a great way to do that. Then they fall into a natural 3 per month auto flow. Combination of mail and email, something of value. And we're going to show you some examples here in a bit. But we have found, and our research shows, that for you to become the realtor of choice, you need to have auto flow 3 touches per month. And what auto flow does for you is it keeps you in flow when you get busy. You're so busy trying to keep your transactions together that many times you forget to send things out. Well, autoflow is set up so that these things go out automatically for you. And it also keeps you in flow when you're on vacation. You may be in Mexico or Hawaii on vacation, but your network is receiving these mails and these emails, and they think that you're still active and you're still in business. The other kind of flow is live flow. And we recommend 50 live interviews per week, asking 4 questions. We'll talk about 4 questions here in a minute. And your Ninja 9. Your Ninja 9 is designed to increase your live flow. We mentioned Ford. These are the kinds of questions that you want to ask folks. You ask about their family and friends. You ask about how's work, how's everything, how's business. What are you guys doing for fun? What's your recreation? And dreams is a category. Anything about the future. So, what are your plans for the holidays? Your daughter's graduating high school this year. What are her plans? And what we know is that Ford is the core values of most people. Is there anything more important to them than their family, their friends, their careers, what brings them joy, their hopes and their dreams? Really, Ford is their life. And what we know is this. If they have a change in one of these 4 areas, it's going to affect their real estate. So when we're in flow, we don't ask, hey, do you want to buy or sell real estate? Anybody wants to buy or sell real estate? That's not the Ninja way. Instead, the Ninja way is, how's the family? How's business? What are you guys doing for fun? Okay? And when we ask those 4 questions and we hear change, either pain or pleasure, going on in one of these 4 areas, it's going to affect their real estate. Step number 4 then is to schedule those activities. Put them on your calendar so that you have a set time and you commit to that schedule and you commit to those activities. Let's start with AutoFlow first. We recommend that you have a AutoFlow calendar, that you build that in November before the year starts, so that it's set up, so that it's automatic, you're ready to go. You're not asking yourself every week, gee, what am I going to do this week or this month? It's set up automatically for you. And we've provided you with an example. The example, well, let me do this first. Let me go through some examples of AutoFlow, and then I'll show you a calendar. We believe that whatever you're sending out in your AutoFlow needs to fall into one of 2 categories, either art or science. Now, art is the heart. Okay, so an example of, and it's the heart and the feel-good, the relationship side of this. So, gift certificates to restaurants, for example, or to a movie. Notepads, the little notepad that sits beside the telephone, that's a popular item. Invitations to events, maybe you have a forecast event or customer appreciation event. Calendars are still popular. Ice cream coupons for their children, tickets to events, and what we call feel-good postcards, kind of the chicken soup for the soul type of quotes and feel-good type postcards. These would be some examples of things that you could put into your AutoFlow that your network would really appreciate. It gives them a good vibe, and they appreciate these items. Science is more the head. So people love market statistics. They like to know what's going on in their neighborhood. Just listed cards, just sold cards. How to invest in real estate. Interest rate information. How to refinance and buy an investment property. And then, of course, your annual real estate review. All of these are examples of science. And so when you design your AutoFlow, you want to have a combination of we've provided you an example of Chris Doyle's flow schedule. Chris is a top producer. He's one of the top realtors in Colorado. He works at our campus in Ninja, and he's been interviewed in the past on our webinars. So I've provided you with an example of his AutoFlow. What you'll notice is his touches are way beyond 3 a month. It works out to be more like 1 a week. And I notice this is a pattern of top producers. A lot of them are doing more than just the bare minimum of 3 per month. One of the things that you want to do on your schedule then is you want a time block. And you want to time block your schedule. Jim Rohn says either you run the day or the day runs you. Well, you want to run the day, and you do that by organizing your time and blocking it on your calendar.
I guess I'm only going to stop this for a second because I really want to end on time. So when you look at that flow calendar, I want to have a flow workshop with you. Ruth and I are talking about doing some auto flow pieces for you so that you just can get your database in and send them out. We're going to have to make sure your databases are in where you want them. If you're putting them in eEdge now or you have them in eEdge now, they're going to seamlessly go over to Command. Your life's going to just be better and better with the technology for KW. And whatever CRM you use, are they in, and can you send out what we're calling the auto flow? Then if you say to yourself, I don't know if I want that many. What he just said is that there's art and science. You might personally love a newsletter because that's how you are. Somebody else might take a newsletter and go, could care less about that. And you get a little feel-good quote would make them thrilled. Some people love calendars, some people like, whatever the list was. So you can take this calendar, do it yourself. What are the odds that you'll leave today and go do it? You might get with an accountability partner. We're going to talk about your auto flow calendar. You set it up now for all of 2019. And then in 2019, when you're busy in the middle of being abundant and working, it's already all set for you. You've already planned it out. So like, let's say I said, well, I feel good about a newsletter every 2 months. Oh, that's okay, that's 6 a year. That's not going to bother anybody. Or a farming piece or a just listed or whatever it is. I'm just going to take my calendar and say, here's what I want. I wish I woulda, coulda, wanna do next year. take it past that action, right? You guys ever think about doing it but don't do it? Gonna get time to do it, but didn't get it yet. So we're gonna have some workshops on that.
And we're going to give you some tips on how to do that. Basically, the ninja routine is this. You show up for work in the morning, and you work on your business in the morning, and you work in your business in the afternoon. Working in your business is showing houses, writing contracts, listing houses, negotiating contracts, all of the stuff that we do in our business. And what I notice is that a lot of realtors, if they have a 1 o'clock appointment for a listing appointment or to show property, they show up for work at noon and they go on that appointment. Well, the ninja shows up in the morning. And in the morning is when you're running your flow systems. That's when you're doing your auto flow. That's when you're doing your live flow, some of your phone calls and so on. That's when you're doing your Ninja 9. And so you want to time block, especially in the morning, to schedule those activities that are going to drive your goals. And then step number 5 then is your action plan. So you're going to schedule your goals. We recommend that you're going to schedule your activities. We recommend that you schedule those in the morning. And then obviously, if you schedule them, you'll be more inclined to do them and you'll take action on them. We have a saying in Ninja that life happens at the level of movement, not words. So now it's time to really do this. And what we recommend that you do in the morning is your Ninja 9. 9 habits for success in generating the business. 5 of these are daily habits. We recommend that you do them first thing in the morning. They'll take you about 15 minutes. You do those first. You just get in the routine or the habit of doing those 5 habits on a daily basis. Then we recommend you time block 2 to 4 hours a week, preferably in the morning, for the 4 weekly habits. So we would recommend that you time block, say, 2 hours on Monday and 2 hours on Thursday, as an example. Doesn't have to be Monday and Thursday. Whatever it is that works into your routine is the best. But you time block that, and we're going to show you what to do in that 2 to 4 hour period. You could block 1 hour on Monday and 1 hour on Thursday. We recommend at least 2 hours on each would be better. So here we go. Let's jump in. Most of you are familiar with the Ninja 9, but we have some folks on this call that may not be familiar, so we're going to briefly summarize those 9 habits. Success habit number 1 is you want to start each day with your gratitudes. We'd recommend that you do this before you get out of bed. You're laying in, you wake up, before you get out of bed, your feet hit the ground, you lay in bed and give thanks. Give thanks for waking up, give thanks for your health, give thanks for being an American and being able to practice real estate in this great country. Be thankful for your spouse if you have one, or your partner, or your children. But you give thanks, and what this does is it improves your attitude and it puts you in a positive energy state. It gives you a great energy vibe. You want to get your ninja on, as we say, or your vibe on before you start your day. Number 2, then, you want to time block and take a look at your calendar. You want to time block your day. You want to time block your week. You want to control your agenda. And it's very important here that you do not want to open your email first thing. Because when you do that, suddenly you're on everybody else's agenda. Your Ninja 5 will only take you 15 minutes. That email can wait 15 minutes. Make sure you do your Ninja 5 first. Good suggestion, do not be using your cell phone as an alarm clock. Because when your alarm goes off and you grab that cell phone now, all at once that phone's in your hand. There's an addiction there to, now, well, I've got to be starting to check all my feeds. I've got to check my email. I've got to check my Facebook. I've got to check my text. I've got to check all my social feeds that are coming in. And suddenly you're on everybody else's agenda. So stay on your agenda. It'll take about 15 minutes. All of that other stuff can wait. Habit number 3 then is to write 2 personal notes. The research shows this is the most powerful thing you can send to another human, and it's becoming more powerful because more people are not doing it. Today it's popular to email or text. The personal note is becoming more and more powerful. So you want to sit down and write 2 notes each day, 10 a week, about 500 a year. You watch, it'll transform your business. Then you pull out your hot list. Your hot list is a list of people who want to buy or sell. They know they want to buy or sell. They want to buy or sell with you, and they want to buy or sell within the next 3 months, the next 90 days. You need to know who you should be focusing your attention on. And you ask yourself this question: who on this list is ready to go right now? Who's ready to write a contract today or write a contract this week? Where should I be putting my time and attention this week? Who are my highest priorities? And so you want to make sure that you focus on that, because what you focus on expands. And what I notice with top producers is they don't just do this in the morning. They carry that hot list with them. If they see a new listing, they pull out the hot list. Who do I have for that? If they're at a sales meeting, they hear a pitch, they pull out their hot list. Who do I have for that? They go on tour, they come out of the houses, they pull out their hot list. Who do I have for this house? They focus on that hot list. They're always focused on who wants to write a contract, how can I write a contract, where should I be spending my time? And then you pull out your warm list. The warm list is different. It's a list of people who want to buy or sell. It comes from that little exercise that you did on the changes that they're going through in their lives. You know that they may want to do something in the next year, but they may not know it. Okay, you're just seeing the changes going on, and you know that they're probably going to want to do something, but they may not know it yet. And so you bring them into your consciousness and you review your warm list. Okay, the habits 1 through 5 should take you about 15 minutes. One great way to track your hot list, your warm list, and your business is with the Excel spreadsheet we've provided you called the Business Tracker. And it's in your handouts. You can set this up. And what you basically do is just move people across the page. So they start in the warm list category. Then they move to hot. Then they move to under contract. And then they move to closed. It's a great way to track your business. And a lot of our ninjas use the Business Tracker. Okay, let's talk about now habits 6 through 9. Now what we do is we time block at least an hour, preferably 2 hours, twice a week in the morning to focus on our customer service calls. We should call all of our sellers once a week. We should call all of our active buyers once a week, all of our under contract buyers, anybody who's referred us business. We need to take great care of our customers. And what our mindset is that our next transaction is embedded in this transaction. If we are taking great care of our customers and we're in touch with them every week, and we ask them forward questions and we listen for change, we're going to generate referrals, we're going to generate additional business. Habit number 7 then is to schedule 2 real estate reviews each week. A real estate review is a simple overview of the market and an overview of their real estate holdings. Your mindset is that I owe this to my people on an annual basis. That they deserve to know what's going on with their real estate. It's one of their largest, both financial and emotional investments. I offer that service. I want to sit down with at least 2 a week. I will probably do more than that, and I'll drop them in the mail to them. But 2 real estate reviews a week, very, very important. Number 8 then is to figure out how I'm going to get my 50 live interviews a week. Well, already, if we're making all of our calls to our sellers, those count. Our active buyers, those count. Under contract buyers, anybody that's referred us business, those count. If we're calling somebody to wish them happy birthday or happy anniversary, that counts. If we're calling to set up a real estate review, that counts. If we have an open house and 7 people come through, well, that counts as 7. And so it's very easy, if you're in flow at all, to get your 50 per week. And again, you don't have to come off like a salesman. You don't have to call 50 people or see 50 people and say, hey, anybody wants to buy or sell. You simply say, how's business? How's the family? What are you guys doing for fun? What are your plans for the holidays? And just listen. That's all it takes. And then habit number 9 is to update your database once a week. You need a set time where you can take all those scraps of paper and business cards that you've accumulated over the week and get them loaded into your database. So if you don't, and they just are in a pile, what you find is 2 weeks later, you're scratching through that pile trying to find an email or trying to find a phone number. So you need to be disciplined about this and have a set time when you update your database, and then you're looking through that database and you're looking for property matches. You've seen listings that week that have come on the market or you've toured, and you're looking for those matches. It's important that you keep a scoreboard of these activities, that you actually log in your calls, the notes that you've written, the real estate reviews that you've done. We call it hoard and record, okay? And what we know is we're more likely to continue to do these activities if we are keeping track of them. We need a scoreboard where we keep track. We've been in the process of developing a scoreboard or a planner for the last 2 years, and we finally have it ready. Some of you have heard about it, have already ordered it. I'm going to talk briefly about this planner. You see a photo of it here. And if you open it up, one of the sections, and this is the week that basically shows the scoreboard of all the activities that I've just described. All of your Ninja 9 can be displayed right here at a glance. Boom, you've got it. You know exactly what you're doing, and you're recording your activities. You're able to stay on top of it. And I think being able to see this at a glance is very, very important. I've been asked about, well, what about an electronic version of this? What about something on your phone? And let me share an example. What I like about that scoreboard that's paper, and you can see a whole week at a glance, is it gives you a big picture perspective. This is obviously a photo of Machu Picchu in Peru. Pat and I were there last year. We hiked the Inca Trail, and we popped through what they call the Sun Gate. We had perfect weather that day, and I snapped this photo. It's a pretty awesome view of Machu Picchu. This is the view you get. But somebody told me one time, trying to do some of this stuff on a phone is kind of like trying to drive a car with the windshield iced over. And all you can do is click around and see the various parts. Okay, so you're clicking around trying to see it, but you can't see the big picture. All you can see is these little pieces. And so we have done a lot of research on this, and we have found that we get better results if we can look at that scoreboard a week at a time. And so the planner is designed to help you do that. The company that we've partnered with on this is Monumental Living. And monumentalliving.com, you can go to that website. These planners are available right now if you're interested. And I'll show that website again at the end in case you have an interest in that planner. The Ninja 9 goal is to help you create what we call overflow. So if you follow what we teach you, if you build this business plan, if you follow the Ninja 9, you will have more business than you can physically handle. And you're going to say, wait a minute, what do I do now? Well, isn't that a great problem to have? Too much business. Now you have some choices. You could decide to work with really the most fun and clients that are really ready to go, and you could, not work with the tough client, or you could refer them off, or you could refer off the B's and C's who may not be quite ready, or you could build a team. I mean, you have lots of choices now. But let's talk a little bit about how you organize your week so that you can handle the volume. We all have the same number of hours, so we all have 168 hours a week, and it's really not about managing time. It's more about maximizing the return on your time. Where are you investing your time? We have for you a simple system called the PIE system. PIE time for sales associates, PIE time. And the P stands for productive time. There's you, a customer, and a contract. These three ingredients constitute productive time. So your most productive time is when you're listing a house or negotiating a contract or showing property or writing a contract. When you're doing that, you're in what we call productive time, okay? Here's the problem. You can't predict how much productive time you're going to have. What you can predict and what you can control is what creates productive time, which is I time, indirectly productive time, commonly known as flow time. Okay, your flow, your Ninja 9, the notes you're writing, the real estate reviews you're doing, the customer service calls you're doing. All of those are the things that drive productive time. And then you have what we call everything else. If you look at most sales associates and how they are investing their time, And we have a little time log that we recommend that's in your handout that you fill out. You can track your time, and you can see on a monthly basis or weekly basis how you're spending your time. Most sales associates are spending the least amount of time in productive time. And the next least amount in indirectly productive time or flow time. They're spending most of their time where? In e-time. Now, sometime they have to spend there. I mean, they have to, there's certain things that you have to answer emails, and you have to process contracts, and there's certain stuff that has to get done. But your most productive time is in P&I. And with top producers, many of them that I've analyzed, their productive time when they're with a client is worth in the thousands of dollars an hour. It may be $1,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 an hour. So for them to have more productive time, they need more indirectly productive time. They need more flow time. And where are they going to get that time? They need to get it out of E time. So P&I time generally is what you do. It requires a real estate license. This is where you should be investing your time. It'll get you the greatest return. And E-time can generally be accomplished by an assistant. So at some point in your business, as you develop your business as a ninja, as you develop overflow, at some point you should consider adding that assistant who can help you organize your time so that you can spend more time in P and I time. I'd like to wrap up with a couple of things here. One is this book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Highly recommend it. It's very popular in the Ninja Nation. A lot of Ninja companies are using it. We use it in Ninja. It starts with goal setting, which we've helped you with, your financial goals, your life goals, and so on. But here's the thing. Goals are a lag measure, okay? What that means is that you only know if you've achieved them once you've achieved them. What you need to focus on are what we call the lead measures. What are the activities that are going to drive those goals? Well, we've documented those for you. It's Flow and Ninja 9. If you want to achieve your goals, maximize your Flow and Ninja 9. Those are the lead measures that will take you there. Then you need to have a schedule to do your Ninja 9 and your Flow activities, and you need to have a scoreboard to keep track of, are you doing them? And that's where the Ninja Planner comes into play. And then number 4, you need to have a weekly meeting with yourself. Okay, you're the CEO of your company. So you meet with yourself and evaluate, how am I doing? And that's where you pull out your scoreboard. What's working, what's not working, what do I need to do for this next week?
Okay, guys, I'm gonna stop it there. Whew, take a breath. What do you guys think? Do you get some clear idea of your activities there?
I'm inspired.
Okay. So I didn't make any kind of energizing video to end with. I want you to just turn to your neighbor and pinky swear. We're going to do some activities here after this class. So pinky swear. Turn to your neighbor and pinky swear. You guys are not minded. Does that mean you're not going to do the activities? Did everybody sign the sign-in sheet so we can send? I don't know what sign-in sheet is. We'll send you some follow-up content. Do some flow workshops, some life flow workshops. If you guys will use your planner, I'll tell you something about this. Gary Keller always said, no matter what he had the best technology in the world, he always used a month-at-a-glance handwritten calendar. There's so many of us that are opposed to having it written anymore, and what you'll find is you can go back, when you tell me you're in a slump, we can go back and look at what you were doing 45 to 90 days ago, which tracks what you're going to be doing. So if you guys will take the time to plan this time of year, your first quarters will take off, right? You want to look at it?
Oh, wow.
Jennifer Wheeler. You guys need him? Talk to Jennifer Wheeler. She's not here today. She's not feeling well. Do you guys like it?
Yeah.
Okay. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for coming.
Grateful for you.
You know the handwritten cards, those names that you wrote on that list earlier, send somebody on that list a handwritten card.
My mom used to have me right now.
No, you gotta do Jennifer Wheeler, I'm not responsible enough to take this or go to Casanova. You enjoy it? Good.
So how long?
So far, we bring in lunch in just a few minutes, and, I'll read
The problem is that the hardest thing is email to analysis paralysis.
he would have kind of like great ideas, you would start from there.
Going all the time?
Yeah, well, so, I mean, he actually is visiting his parents or helping at his parents. He's on his way back right now, but he's on one way or another usually.
Any good trips coming up?
Yeah, we're going to Banff in December, we're leaving the 18th
That's on our list.
for our annual anniversary trip. And so, and then we're going to Winter Park in January. So, take your kids. No kids. Just us. You gotta go. Oh,
Yeah, I know. Boy, they've been getting